Numudan up against Muhodo. And look at that, Whammon. Look at that. We got this nice little water graphic in the back. It's the EGC Masters Summer, and we're starting this set off with Scandinavia. In the summer, it's fun, beach time vibes here. And yeah, we'll be seeing Juji up against the Ayubids.
Which is actually quite ironic because I believe Scandinavia is a little chilly for going to the beach. But they got themselves some pretty good civs for the beach, though. Because these guys, they are so good at water, hybrid shenanigans that I'm seeing here today. So ladies and gentlemen, let's hop on in and see what these bad boys do on a little bit of water on the side.
That is right, no delay. We're jumping straight into game number 1 in this best of 5 between Numudan and Muhodo. Ayubids vs Juji's Legacy here on Scandinavia, and this is an important set. Whoever wins this one is going to be going through. This one is about who will qualify for the EGC Masters Summer. This is the last chance for these players to qualify, and if you qualify, that's an immediate $500 bounty that you're getting in there. Your prize pool is going to immediately go up to $500. That's a pretty big cash increase there, some might say. And you know, this is also about the ATR, right? Like, you're getting those tournament points, you're getting points in general, because every single set in the EGC Masters Series counts, because it improves your seeding for the EGC Masters final tournament that is coming up after this one as well.
Now, both of these players, they are not as high in the ATR to be safe for these pickings, so this is actually quite high stakes then. Now, this is a map that we don't see much, of course. It is something that's new to many people. As we can see here, we do see a dock on the one side, but not the other. So where is that? No, there's just nothing going on. Wait. He's not going for it at all. Numudan?
This makes sense.
Okay, walk me through it, Crackety. I want to look. Okay, wait. Before you do. So basically, when he does get that very, very juicy garden going on, and I mean, that's a pretty nice one we got there. Is it just you denying your opponent's stock by getting a nice little emplacement with time, or how do you play this if you're the Zushi player?
Typically, you just use the fact that you're going to be in feudal age a lot quicker than the Ayubids would be, and you immediately want to get an archer ship out and just immediately deny the fishing there and out from your opponent, and you just get the tempo advantage. If you're able to get one archer ship and one sprinkled ship out before your opponent reaches the age up, you will be able to completely shut down their water. But Muhodo, you can see, he gathered 30 gold. 30 gold exactly from the gold mine. That means that we are going to be getting an advancement wing here from him. Means that he will actually have a very comparable age-up timing to Numudan. And if Numudan then tries to dock his side, yeah, look at that. Culture wing advancement already coming in. 1.5 minutes, and then, yeah, the age-up hasn't even started yet from Numudan.
Now getting a nice
little... Wait, where is that Medigon?
Oh my goodness. That's in the middle of the map? Oh my goodness. Guys, welcome to the craziest shenanigans you'll see. He basically built it in Muhodo's base, and he just wants to get the most value. Do you get more gold from the big gold mine?
No, it's 25. So this is roughly 100 resources here with the wood line as well. Maybe more like 90-ish, I want to say. This here in the back would have been more like 85. It's always tough to call whether or not this is worth it, because this is villager idle time, of course, walking the villagers out. In theory, it's not the worst, because he wants to go out into the middle anyways at one point, or to get the dock up. And oh my god, no, this fishing ship, it's stuck.
Step ship. It's step ship. Get out there.
Stuck in the Spulmaschine. It can't get out.
Got it. Sorry, that one caught me off guard, but he does find a way in, and he's back to fishing, ladies and gentlemen. But that's a lot of sheep, though. Numudan he's got some healthy food income here. We'll see where he sends that villager to counter dock, but we do see 2 red dots, and guys, if you played StarCraft, you know how important spotting that red dot is, and he gets it. But Numudan is going to be able to queue up that ship soon. He just does not have the wood for it.
Oh, and Muhodo, he's pulling his villager, but this is a Chinese dock. They do not abide by the safety code from the OSHA, so that dock is getting rushed up really, really quickly. Muhodo, though, with his own age up, already has his archer ship in queue. Numudan just needs a little bit more food, and is it also going to be an archer ship? I could imagine that he also just waits a little bit. Nah, it's going to be an archer ship. Could have also gone for a springle ship immediately, but archer ship will be the first one coming out here.
Now, he brings
Double villager pull.
He pulls those two forward, right? But the thing is, there's a ship here, and he wanted to avoid as much idle time as possible. But I think in turn of doing so, he's gotten a lot more idle time.
He needs the villagers there for repair, because Muhodo has fishing ships that can repair his ships.
Oh, yes.
So, Numudan, he needs ships, villagers here as well, just to be able to counteract that repair. And we do see that repair now coming in, and you're going to see, Whammon, these villagers, they repair ships at lightning speed.
Oh my gosh. Crackety, that looks illegal.
Be so careful.
Those bills, though, they do take a bit of damage. And the thing is, now behind this, we do see that Muhodo is very much focused on this water. He's got double broadaxe as well, making sure that he gets enough wood to keep this game going. But now the springle ship is coming in for Numudan. And
yeah,
even though there's a demo ship
in now.
He's gonna need to be careful. Oh my goodness, it's quite far forward.
It's there immediately. And the archer ship, it's gotten separated. Man the sails needs to come in immediately, but the pathing, and a great connection. Springle ship goes down immediately. Numudan, yeah, he knows. There's no way that he can do enough pressure now on this side of the map, and he has to switch over to the other pawn, to the other side of the map. And to be fair, it's not the worst situation. He forced his opponent into the advancement wing. And yeah, the advancement wing is just that. You advance a little bit faster, advance for fewer resources. But that's it. That's where it ends. There's no more bonuses coming in after that. And look at that. Numudan, he spots out Muhodo going for his own dock there. So can immediately rush that one down. Villagers getting pulled for that one.
Yeah, and it abandons building the dock as well. He's like, this is more important, chiefs. We can build our dock any day, but you are gonna die. So this dock getting built, and Muhodo has hopes, he has dreams. Will this villager survive? Twitch chat, get your bets in. You win a permaban if you do get it right. But it does look like this villager is going to be hammering his last
Almost
hammer.
Close.
Disgusting.
Oh, but Muhodo, he's rushing another dock up next to the neutral market at the bottom side. With multiple villagers, he knows that he needs presence on that pond as well. And yeah, with that, he's gonna pull the villagers. He knows how much, how worth that is.
Now, Crackety, getting an archery range here, I already feel disgusted because I know that Jugunu spam is awful to play against, and I feel sorry for anyone who has to face such consequence of existence. When you're playing against Zushi, you kind of deserve it, right? Just because they're there. And you're gonna be struggling against those huge amounts of Jugunus that will be coming your way. But Muhodo, though, he's ahead of his time. He does build a little tower here, and it is going to make it a little bit more digestible on the water. But now with him having water on the one side completely uncontested, he's probably pretty happy to just go for a nice little castle. And we'll see if that's the case, because he just keeps going for camels. Ladies and gentlemen, the man wants his camels. But that's a lot of food that he's going to be getting from this side of the water.
Yeah, I was about to say, Jugunu only really feel dangerous if you play a civilization that doesn't have access to a knights or any armored unit in the feudal age, or a civilization that is slow when it comes to aging up to the castle age. But that not being the case here. And also, we do have a desert raider, just one lone Jugunu. He's getting caught off guard there, will get taken down, and now I'm not sure if Muhodo saw this before, but at least now he knows where that meditation garden is exactly.
Now, the thing is, Jugunu are pack animals. They're like fish. If you are just one Jugunu, you're going to get picked off by the shark pretty quickly. But if you are a group of Jugunu, there's a bigger chance that you will not get picked off, you know? And these guys, they're not doing a lot of damage right now, but the camels, one by one, they are going to make quick work of all those little Jugunus running astray. Now, that's like Numudan has stopped producing Jugunu here, and we'll see what the next move is going to be. But Muhodo, he's got 2 camels, and he is going to go try to find some damage. But behind this, Muhodo is already thinking about what's next. And Crackety, my question is this going to be militarying, or do we see some eco coming through?
Realistically, because he did go for advancement logistics off the table, I think reinforcement or economic wing growth would be the way to play this now.
Yeah, we'll see what he goes with.
Numudan, he's in a tough spot. How would you call a group of Shuganu then? Is it a school of Shuganu? Is it a marina of Shuganu?
Give me a moment to think about that one. I think that this one I need to cook on a little bit, but for now I'm going to edge on the side of School of Jugunu because it feels like they're educated. They're more educated than an archer. They can shoot 3 shots at a time. So these guys, they've got what it takes, but it does look like this micro is coming on through. But both of these boys, they are fighting for their lives on the water. It does look like these demo ships are not going to have a very long life, and they do get sniped out, but with the camels on the field, it does become a lot harder to just keep your focus on the water.
And looks like Numudan, he had just enough there, and the micro was good enough for him to be able to come out ahead on his side of the water. He has actually managed to pull ahead in the economy count overall, so he did invest a good bit there in water, but now military wing reinforcement coming in for Muhodo, so is going to be spawning 3 of these nice desert raiders here every couple of minutes, and that actually equates to quite the hefty little pocket change there when it comes to resources that you get basically in terms of just free units every now and then.
Okay, Crackety, I finished cooking. So basically, a comity of Jugunu would not be funny, but a spamity, because they have so many arrows, they spam it. So with the spamities, or I don't know, but maybe that's not it. Never mind, guys. Twitch chat, come up with something bigger, please save us, because now
I like the idea of a murder of Shuganu, because now we're also getting the rams in.
And you know the rams mean business. But now with reinforcement coming in, the camels I think are going to be a lot harder to handle, because 16 Jugunu, they might be a murder, but are they a big enough murder to handle a set of desert raiders like this? Now with the ram, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a destruction. +1 ranged attack as well. Apparently, Numudan does feel quite confident. That's going to be a very tough ram to beat.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be incredibly difficult, especially since Muhodo, he's already added in a barracks as well, so he's going to have access to Ghulams on top of everything else. So we're getting Ghulams and Camelans now, and Ghulams are quite nice up against Shuganu because they do move faster and also do a lot more damage to unarmored units. Veterancy on these Desert Raiders coming in as well behind this. Ram is coming in. Villagers, they're feeling brave. They shouldn't.
Yeah. I don't know, and Steve will now tell his family never, ever to feel that brave again, because that poor guy paid the price. He's laying down there, face first on the ground, and a few more of these villagers might pay the price. One goes down, and another one, and they are just spamming away. Look at those poor camels. They all did not expect that big of a hit. But now the camels do get their upgrades pretty soon. Wheelbarrow coming in soon for Muhodo as well, but is this going to be enough time? A house pays the big price as well. Look at that.
Numudan, he's finding a very strong timing here, because behind this, he's also getting ready for Castle Age of his own. He's prepping a second ram. That one is supposed to hit the shoreline now, get some of those docks down. Muhodo, though, also able to find a good enough timing here. Never mind, there's a Jugunu there.
Luckily not a school, so but he will not be strong enough to take this. And another camel on the ground. Poor guys, they just keep falling. But now Muhodo, he is going out on the map to the safe side of the water. Now these villagers could be a little bit protected, because of course they do have some ships laying about. But the camel numbers, they are going to start increasing. And I mean, with that, he is going to be a very happy camper. Mount Lu Academy now is chosen. And Numudan, he is... he's going to be enjoying that Castle Age, I assume, because with a ram there hammering away at the dock, he's probably feeling like he is in control. With 62 workers total, he is a very happy camper. Now, Muhodo's army is starting to look scarier, but I think with the amount of Jugunu, he's still going to struggle to do some proper damage.
Especially since we're now also getting veterancy on them, and crossbows mixed in with Shuganu. It is very difficult, I want to say, Whammon, to discern with what unit is a Jugunu and what unit is a crossbowman. And it can get to these situations where you might be in a position where you got a lot of units that would counter Jugunu, but also get countered by crossbows, and you're just not quite able to tell, is this going to be a good fight for me or is it not?
Now, it does feel like Numudan knows this pretty well. I think the fact that you cannot discern between them does make it so difficult to actually take down the things that can do the damage to you. But with archers, you kind of have an answer to both, right? Now, we do see him getting veterancy for the archers as well. Muhodo should be able to get a big enough number here to make this hard. But Numudan, he is pretty ahead economically right now. He just needs to let that sink in a bit more. As these camels are coming from the back, they do get a villager, but the army value is pretty similar right now. The thing is just Muhodo keeps getting these passive camels, and that could make this very, very hard if Numudan doesn't get producing at the moment.
And look at that. The units from Muhodo coming just in time, just when that monk is about to pop out of that building. Isn't actually going to go for it immediately. There are a lot of different spots at the moment where he does have to pay attention. Numudan just doing a great job as expected of him when it comes to just moving around his villagers, trying to keep them working as efficiently as possible while trying not to lose any. That is definitely something that you see Numudan just always being very, very proficient with. And this, yeah, the veterancy on the archers is definitely going to be very important here for him. Jugunu are very dangerous up against archers in feudal age. In castle age, archers do much better against them than they did in feudal age. They do a little bit more damage, and it's pretty significant.
Now, Muhodo feels like he's very confident with these camels, but because they're free, of course. But the problem is just, if you keep losing these, you are going to struggle against that mass. So sure, the archers are going to do great. He's got a few horsemen in the mix as well. But it does feel like Numudan is pretty much sitting here stably. And he's going to be able to take this, especially now with the nest of bees in the mix as well. It should be able to deal with those archers. But you can see they are pre-split too. These boys are not clumped up. And the monk does get denied. He does not get to take any relics today. But it does look like Muhodo has some relics on the cards for himself. Beautiful micro there by Muhodo, though, sniping out that little spearman. Now, what I'm very surprised about is that Muhodo hasn't actually done anything to the garden sitting here in the middle of the map. He's had the map control, but he's just let it tick-tock, getting all the resources. So
yeah, the garden has just been gardening here for a while. Behind this, I mean, Numudan, he's done a great job when it came to expanding out his economy, and we can tell, like, just looking at the amount of food income that he's getting. So Numudan, he's definitely been investing a lot of his wood on water, and it goes to show, like, he's sitting at 1,000 food per minute at the moment. Meanwhile, Muhodo, more like 500 food per minute, so that's a lot more income at the moment on water for Numudan.
Numudan looks like he is going to be able to quickly remake units if needed. But the thing is, there's a pretty big army coming. And I did see a mangonel being created. So that mangonel is going to make this a bit hot. Numudan, though, he's floating a lot. That's what I'm a little bit worried about here. Not constantly producing, spending everybody has. Because this army is getting quite scary. We see those army numbers being pretty even. But the Jugunus, they have gotten a moment to attack here. The spearmen just running away. The archers picking them off. Jugunu now not getting their full shots off in the nest of bees quite far forward. But he gets a pretty good shot there on the archers. Mangonel now, it has something to say about that.
Good army splits there behind all of this by Muhodo. Doesn't lose any archers to the nest of bees yet, but oh, another shot. This one does do a good bit more damage here. And the army count from Numudan at the moment, it's still quite strong. Archers and Jugunu, very, very difficult to discern just exactly which unit is which there. Muhodo, though, he managed to take down the dog. Numudan, though, immediately replacing that dog on the other side, but Muhodo also getting his own dogs in on that side of water, and that there's so much economy there from Numudan. He has to really pay a ton of attention here to that, really doesn't want to lose it. This is quite difficult at the moment. I'm not sure if Muhodo can really arguably take a fight there. It's just such low food income for him at the moment. It is very difficult for him to invest at the moment. We do get the double backline, though. And now demo ships in as well. I think that's probably a good call here for him, just going into mass demo ships, because he needs his food on land.
Getting into a position like this where your water gets denied and you cannot even shut down the land army feels pretty tough. But Muhodo, he's forcing a little bit of pressure. He's still got his own little economy happening over there. So it does feel okay. But right now, Numudan needs to fight for his life. He needs, or not his life, his water at least. The problem is that could mean his life in time. Double demo ship does make a pretty good connection here. One explodes in the middle of nowhere, but the nest of bees, they are firing at these ships and doing okay against them.
Ooh, more demo ships coming in as well, though. Not making connection immediately. Muhodo, he's using this time in order to take care of some of the fishing ships there.
And it looks like that's a pretty scary army to have on your docks. Now, Jugunu, they do pretty well against these docks because they do shoot lots and lots of bolts. But this is giving Muhodo a moment now to say, hey, what am I supposed to do? The camel numbers are not that massive just yet. And with the archer numbers he has, he could potentially use this to pick off some reinforcements or do some raiding. And we do see him going straight for the garden. It's like, we'll burn it down a little bit, but there's another army going to the top of the wood line that he is going to try to do some damage with. The villager kills are pretty even, mostly fishing ships. So we'll see what these are going to be able to do. Look at that. That could be a very, very juicy shot. Hitting it.
Do still have some raids going on. The Desert Lands is just every now and then able to find some villagers here and there. Yeah, ground attack definitely an option here as well. Just like get the nest of bees in position and ground attack in like a spot where you don't have active line of sight on. Because you can do that. You can just ground attack on the area that you don't actually see. So villagers would potentially have to be a bit careful there. This raid is once again just like harassing a lot of economy here from Numudan. And Numudan earlier, he was like 20 economy units ahead. Now it's even.
Now he is using a lot of these camels to do that, and it's honestly a pretty good move here. He's making a lot of idle time, he's causing a lot of unfavorable trades. But the thing is, Numudan's army is still pretty scary. We now see a lot more villagers moving out forward to food. So both of these players, they are running a little bit low on that food income. And the thing is, when the armies do get this big, it does feel pretty tough to keep remaxing. Now, Siege also getting their speed upgrades. So Numudan with those nest of bees, it's going to be extra potent for those bad boys.
Ooh, looks like there's a fight about to take place here, though. Numudan, he is marching forward. Nest of bees at the front side, but we do also have mass manganiques on the side from Muhodo. It's going to have an answer. Outpost now getting rushed up.
And getting those outposts up is going to be so crucial in this fight, because this is where one good shot from the nest of bees or mangonels can decide the whole game. When you get to these numbers, 3 or 4 mangonels, 3 or 4 nest of bees, they turn a fight on its head pretty quickly. One shot and it's already been decided. So it has to be a very careful move for them. Now the garden does become the target, and finally the garden will get punished, but the nest of bees, they're moving forward very slowly.
Muhodo does notice. It's going to pull back in time. You have to respect the nest of bees, though they did get nerfed recently, so in Castle Age they're not quite as brutal as they used to be. Mangonels can take a fight up against them nowadays, as they do now shoot significantly less rockets than they used to.
Now they are looking to land some rockets on these. They do try to go a little bit deeper in on the archers. You see him not trying to be greedy there for the front line. He wants to get it where it matters, and that is the archers. Now they keep sliding in and out. The thing is, there's a lot of spearmen for these front lines, so the camels won't be able to just get on top. It's up to the mangonels. But it does look like he's ready to commit, and Numudan is going forward. He is waiting for some veterancy, but one of the mangonels gets taken down just as quickly as the nest of bees goes down as well.
There's some repair coming in as well. Villagers come from Numudan as well. Wants to repair that that meditation garden. Question is, can he realistically get that repair in? More siege snipes happening here, but Muhodo, his military numbers, it's going down rather quickly. The knights at the front line. There was just a little bit too much front line here from the looks of it. Mangonel's still there, but just not enough archers anymore. Still some great shots coming in every now and then, but now the siege is starting to go down. Outposts have been upgraded with emplacements, but the siege, it's going down rapidly, and some villages going down with it as well.
This looks like a pretty game-deciding fight so quickly. The Jugunu peppering away at most things, but just like that, Muhodo's still raiding. The problem is just he doesn't have an answer to these units. A few of the villagers did go down to some of these nest of bees, and this feels like a push that he doesn't have something to stop with. Villagers now desperately trying to get a bit of food because the back line has already been chopped out. Now, they do look like they're going to get a pretty good shot off. A few villagers do get their HPs taken away, but luckily, no death amongst them yet.
At the moment, Numudan, he's kind of stuck on these outposts, which, by the way, do also have bonus fire armor, courtesy of being in the range of the House of Wisdom, so it does actually take a significant amount of time here to take these down. And I mean, in this time, they've done quite a good amount of damage to these units as well. I'm not sure though if it's enough, because yeah, Muhodo, he's still very far behind in the military count, now starting to remass the Manganiques.
Getting a certain number of Manganiques is going to be quite... It's probably going to be his comeback mechanic, right? Right now, there's no unit he can make that can actually take down this army. So for him to get a pretty cheap shot off, he's going to have a good chance of doing that. Now the Lancers, though, they get onto the back line. The Manganique now getting made here at the back, but the Nest of Bees are right under the DC.
And Nest of Bee shot right on that weak Manganique just as it's getting produced. And yeah, I don't think it's going to live for a long time. Actually, if there's some repair coming in potentially, but no repair at the moment. More shots coming in, though. Yeah, Mangonel is going to get taken down. Oh, switch into... Nope. Look for a second like he switched into the fire shot. But it is still the normal rocks coming out from that Manganique. But there's just so many units coming in. Numudan, he's got better food income. He's just flooding units into the base of Muhodo. Economy getting idled out. And yeah, Muhodo, he's just not able to get Numudan out of his base. Not able to get constant food income in anymore. With that, it looks like he's not able to go on in this game number one now. Now raids coming in. Numudan, he's just flooding through. Knights now going into the back of Muhodo's base, trying to find the economy, trying to find the villagers. Meanwhile, he's just still standing there inside of the base, but there we go. GG comes in. Numudan able to win game number one here in this best of 5.
That is a pretty strong showing as well. I feel like he did know exactly where to attack, when to attack, what his timings needs to be. But Muhodo, he's not to be dismissed at all. The man definitely looks pretty scary, and I think Numudan definitely is going to have a pretty hard time to make it through here. So we'll see what the next one holds, but that was pretty big back and forth, I would say. I think both of these players playing a little bit more passively than they usually would, just scoping out what the other one would do. But the water play, quite fun. The rest of the map pool, though, is going to be a little bit more standard than this one. So we'll see who flourishes better in a standard game.
Looking at the replay here, just these individual moments here and there. Great start from Muhodo, just being able to not lose out on his side of the pond. But Numudan, he just reboomed quite quickly out on the other side, on the other waterfront there. I think Muhodo, he just didn't quite invest enough there, as we can already see. Like at this point in time, 12 minutes into the game, Numudan with a significant economy advantage, just creating so many fishing ships on the other side there. It got him ahead economically quite a bit, and just courtesy of that, being able to spam out so many units here in the mid game.
And I mean, that is a move that he made that he probably realizes, okay, later this game goes, I will have some idle fishing ships, and this could potentially be negative. But it did pay off in the time that he needed it to pay off. So definitely a smart choice, especially when you want to be the aggressor at this stage of the game. But you can see that micro every time back and forth. It could have gone both ways. But with Numudan's early lead, I would say he probably did not do as much aggression as we would have seen from any of the players we've seen, like in the top 8, for example. He's still finding his footing here, understanding where his limits are. And we'll see if he can keep doing that later on. But look at this deciding fight. Those Nest of Bees doing work. Mangonel's doing just as well. But the hits, the Jugenu, it just did not matter.
Next up, we are going to be seeing Dry River come in, and Mongols for Numudan up against the Chinese here from Muhodo. And wham, Mongols, there's a certain flavor of the month going around. We see it time and time again, especially on these like sort of hybrid maps where you can scale into it much quicker than on other maps. It is that famous Kaganet Palace Fast Imperial Age, and Numudan, we've seen him go for that play plenty of times now in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be another one of Numudan tries to survive with 10 villagers, hoping that the Kaganet Palace is going to win him the game.
That's exactly what I was about to say. He doesn't care if every single eco unit is dead. If his palace is up, it's worth it. And we've seen some pretty crazy plays from him, so he's no stranger to these types of shenanigans. But China, is a civilization that I can imagine will be able to punish something like that. The thing is, it depends if he does get enough of a snowball to actually shut it down. But on a map like Dry River, I think Muhodo, oh, not Muhodo, I think Numudan has a pretty good chance at executing this.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I think overall, Muhodo, he's a very aggressive player, so it's gonna be incredibly difficult for Numudan to thread that needle and try and go up to Imperial Age and not die immediately straight after. And we're gonna see exactly how this is gonna play out as we're gonna be jumping right into our game number 2 between Numudan and Muhodo for who is gonna qualify to the EGC Masters Summer.
Now, off to a pretty standard beginning. We see some villagers on wood. Very nice. They are chopping red Numudan all the way here at the top, going for his Uwu opening as well. And Muhodo going to be here on our China. And we'll see how he is able to shut down anything Numudan tries, because those shenanigans, they are out of this world. If you guys have played this on ladder, you know exactly, not this map, but this dealing with Mongols and Fast Imperial, it is something you have to find an answer to punish. But neither of these players going for early docks, which is actually, I mean, this is something we haven't seen on this map. There's always one guy who goes and builds a dock.
Yeah, this time around, I mean, China, I'm not sure, like, typically they don't play the same way Zhu Ji does, where you're just gonna get a meditation garden in and then play on the pond on a delay. And we do actually see, yeah, Muhodo, he is gonna potentially scout the production building in here. Is it gonna be a pasture? No, it's gonna be a barracks coming in.
Ooh, what is this? But he sees it, and that's the important part. He knew that there could be some kind of shenanigans, and based on what he scouts, we see exactly what's coming on out. Now, with that barracks, we do see the deer at the back. So that deer could potentially just be pushed in. But usually, that's not the type of stuff we see from Mongols, and barracks has been abandoned. We're seeing a dock. And now the scout, we'll see if the scout reads into it. Because now with that barracks being spotted, he definitely...
Oh my god, Chinese scouting. It's just something of another world, because these scouts, they got their magnifying glasses with them. And yeah, Muhodo, he sees what is going on here, so he knows it's not going to be any Dark Age play. This is some economy expansion coming in from Numudan now. Question is, how's he going to react to that now? I could imagine that he also just tries to, like, go for the age up now and counter-dock that pond, because the dock has come in very late.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't feel like he's anywhere close to aging up himself. Numudan is very much focused on, you know, a normal fishing economy. That's exactly what this looks like. And the problem is, it's quite late, like we said. Now, with the Imperial Academy coming on down, we are going to be seeing some Imperial officials following suit soon. Ooh, there goes the English. We found it. And Numudan, though, we'll see how many fishing ships he decides to invest in on. Now, with Numenon's civilization, he doesn't mind a little bit later of an age up. It's not like you can do much against China at this point anyway. But this feels like something he needs to go for that fast imp. He needs to get that extra burst of food, because if China does it, it feels like they can just spam units instead. So we'll see how that one looks, but an extra dock would not surprise me either.
Yeah, personally, I would honestly just prefer Muhodo just going out there and docking the same pond as well on his own. Definitely has the option to do so. We do see the lumber camp coming in now, and with supervision, he is going to be getting a very, very good amount of wood in rather quickly. Could already send out a villager if that was his goal here to do so. This has to be careful, because Khan does a good bit of damage as well. Do want to avoid that one.
Now, the Khan sees everything, and he will be able to see if there are any other dock shenanigans happening, but Muhodo, we'll see what he goes for next. We do see a lot of wood coming on in, so like you said, there's a lot of choices here. You could either go for a little bit of aggression, get a nice little building down, but Deer Stones now being rushed up with 7. Pretty big investment to get these boys up so quickly. Now, the Deer Stones we've seen from Numudan before is this bad boy will move around the map and he will be annoying as can be if he needs to. Now, we've historically seen a lot of Keshiks to try and delay his opponent, get his opponent to react, or to just get the Kana Hunter and snipe a few villages on the side. Now, we are seeing a stable here from Muhodo, so just a little bit of presence on the map.
Yeah, so he's gonna go for a couple horsemen here early on. We did just hear that Khan Falcon going up. Not sure if he sees that stable with that Falcon, but he's gonna walk around. So he's gonna, yeah, he didn't see it with the Falcon, but he is gonna see it now that he walks around. So we'll know exactly what Muhodo is gonna go for here. We do also have the mill. This could also long-term be a pro scout play. I'm not 100% sure. At the moment, the economy is quite even because, sure, Muhodo, he doesn't have the pawns, but what he does have is he has those imperial officials. So he does get an economic benefit from that. Archer range now coming up from Numudan. And, you know, when you make an archer range as a reaction to a stable opening with horsemen, it has to be for Mangudai.
And how do Mangudai actually do against the horse or normal horsemen?
It depends, because you also have the option of taking your deer stones and you move it somewhere else. And if the Mangudai are in the influence of the deer stones, you just cannot catch up to the Mangudai, and they will absolutely obliterate horsemen. Indeed, we do see Mangudai in the queue here from Numudan.
And he does get building speed increased. Guys, he's gonna move that bad boy right to the front. And this is something we've seen time and time again from Numudan. Oh, the deer stones, it's moving, it's coming with, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be doing some crazy shenanigans to the front here. But Muhodo making some spearmen between all of this. I feel like Numudan can outmaneuver spearmen in his sleep after seeing the amount of times he's gone for these. But archery range coming through as well. So, I mean, Muhodo is getting rock, paper, and scissor, trying to make sure that those Mangudai are not going to make his life too difficult.
Yeah, when in doubt, just throw everything at them. Yeah, Mangudai, just looking at them right now, the second they're out of that influence of the deer stones, they suddenly they lose their step. They're not able to gap close any longer. And yeah, behind this, so Numudan, like, he's expanding kind of heavily onto the water here, so he really wants to make sure it's going to stay up for a long time. But we can already tell the game plan overall from him is going to be Castle Age behind this, as he isn't actually producing that much behind us. He's already pooling up resources.
Yeah, and getting 5 fishing ships on these, for those of you who don't know, this is usually quite aggressive on the water, because usually you want to let this last and give you a proper trickle of income. But no, he just needs food so he can get Imperial and skyrocket from there on out. And I realized that they called these poor guys the horse archers earlier. So these Mangudai, that we don't get their names wrong, they are going to be able to run back and forth pretty easily with the Khan there to support and the deer stones to speed them up when necessary. But now the resources, like you said, they're pooling up. And we do have +1 ranged attack coming in too. Now, what I absolutely love is he's making a lot of these. So with the amount that we have here, he's going to be able to take on quite a lot of these units. And Muhodo has to invest quite a bit to actually try and do some damage to this. Now, Numudan, he's got the mobility. So he just gets to run around, see if there's anything he can attack, and run to the other way. So the deer stone's getting a little bit closer. He does want to make sure that he gets these all nice and sped up, and with the deer stones in the vicinity, he is able to do so.
Numudan is going to have to be careful, because if at any one point in time those deer stones is too far forward, in theory, Muhodo could just put a horseman on that deer stones, and it's not ever going to be able to deploy again. Yeah, we do see that the age up, that is the game plan here from Numudan. He invested into 6 Mangudai, courtesy of just double producing them, so got them out rather quickly in the end. And yeah, behind that, just being annoying, forcing a big overreaction here from Muhodo behind this. Look at that movement speed arrow coming in as well. These are not something that you can catch up to.
And it feels like he's tempted by this again and again. And he's thinking, okay, my horseman numbers, they're pretty healthy. I'm looking pretty good. Oh, never mind, there's another dead one the whole time. So Numudan getting a stepped readout on those 2 back golds. Very nice position to be in here. So this is just going to mean he's going to get so much more gold out of these gold veins that he has left. But now the boys do need to retreat. The horseman numbers are starting to get a little scary. And the deer stones will be the next victim. But let's see if they can get a few more cheap shots in.
It looks like Muhodo knows that the deer stones is the crux of his problems here at the moment. He's also going to be able to pick off one of the Mangudai here. Very important. And now the deer stones has packed up, but it's a fast one. Whammon. It's a very, very quick one.
Yeah, with those upgrades, that thing runs at the speed of light. And you guys can see those archers are barely keeping up with the horsemen. Those 4 legs, they are carrying behind the deer stones. The deer stones taking a lot of fire. But the thing is, now those Mangudai are let loose in the base. So those Mangudai, what he wants to do is force his opponent to go back and react. And look at the beautiful surround. Muhodo just knows exactly how to stop buildings from floating away at will. Poor guy. He's stuck,
There we
just
go.
like that fishing ship.
Yeah, no more Deerstone shenanigans now, but the age-up has come through. Muhodo is also macroing towards his own age-up now behind all of this. He's still in Tang Dynasty, and Numudan, I believe, is going out to the second pond now behind all of this. So overall, Numudan, even though he's up against China at the moment, he does have the seemingly superior economy, at least scaling, not really scaling-wise, but just at the moment. Then again, he does also have the Step Redoubt, and Step Redoubt is actually kind of an insane landmark. You're getting 50% bonus gold out of it, and yeah, it looks like the Deerstone somehow managed to wiggle itself free there.
Now, getting all the way back, probably the best case scenario, because now he gets to repair that boy if he ever so needed, but he is not afraid of giving those up. The thing is now those Keshiks are going to hit pretty hard. Now, the water does get shut down, and that's going to mean his food eco is going to take a little bit of a hit, but now the horse archers, the Mangudai, they are running right through all the eco. And those villagers, they will be able to find a safe place to hide. But now they're going to go straight for the wood line. A few spearmen in the mix down here as well, and he does manage to hit him off. But unfortunately, those spearmen will not be able to catch up as they run behind.
Wait for me, guys. I got something for you. But yeah, they were already gone at this point in time. They rolled up the window. Numudan behind this, he is going to be going for the monk play now as well. And I mean, the writing's on the wall, right? Like, we got a couple of Keshiks, but Numudan's already pooling resource again. We are going to be going to a fast Imperial Age follow-up for sure.
He says, it doesn't matter what it takes. I can lose every single unit in my base, every villager. I will just want to get Imp, and that's what he's going to get. He does pick off a villager here too. 2 kills on each side now. And this is starting to get scary. The Lancer, though, he's chasing after, and he's taking every arrow to the face like a champion. But unfortunately, he will eventually go down if he doesn't turn around. The Keshiks, though, they are doing so much damage to these horses and healing up at the same time. Disgusting.
Yeah, that knight definitely had a very, very punchable face. Those Mangudai were very much glued to him at that point in time, but yeah, Numudan, it's just scaling a little bit out of control here for him at the moment. So Muhodo, he really, really needs to be careful here. Also floating a good amount of resource. We do see knights coming in from him. Numudan, he's not being too greedy, though. He is still making units. Every now and then there is a unit in queue. We're getting some crossbows here, a Keshik there. Just enough to where if Muhodo wants to dive, he's going to find himself in a pretty rough spot in between TC and outpost fire. And a couple of units in between as well.
And I mean, that is something he didn't do in previous games. When we watched him in the other qualifiers for the LAN, that was probably one of the only times he did not invest in a lot of units. Not a lot, but a few. So getting this type of pressure just forces your opponent to keep making units, and it delays them even further. Now, we do see Muhodo also floating quite a bit of resources here, but with the gold being very much, needed, it does not look like he will be getting the same fate as going fast Imp. And China also, they don't really get that much from doing so. He needs to find a way to do damage to Numudan while he's in castle. Otherwise, this is going to snowball immensely. Unless Numudan gets 2 Hui Hui Pals, in which case he does have a little bit of an opening.
Why stop at 2? Make it 4 in a row.
We don't want to wish that on
me.
Crackety, if he gets 4, this is on you. This is on you.
I've had it happen to me before, where you go Kagan it and you just get 4 Hu Hu powers in a row. It happens.
That sounds like a Reddit thread right there.
It's fine. I won that game.
Now with the Kashyyyks, though,
Could
the
have been
Kashyyyks,
worse.
they are trading okay, but I mean, with these crossbows in the mix, Muhodo is starting to pick them off. Now, crossbows from Numudan doing good work here at keeping the base kind of safe, just like you said, he's making crossbows. So, unit here, unit there, it's starting to add up. And now all these small little units that he keeps sending out, they are getting picked off by all these pesky little horses. The palace, though, it's being erected, Crackety. Are we ready? Twitch chat! Twitch chat, what are we getting first? We need everyone.
I'm gonna guess warrior monks.
Warrior monks, okay. My vote is on French knights.
Oh, Muhodo. He finds the villagers trying to age up, though.
He does have a few
There's the
crossbows.
crossbows. Let's get 1, 2 vilds down.
Honestly,
Oh man, Muhodo's just delaying it at the moment, but about to come in. It's gonna be
this is best case scenario for Numudan. He only lost 2 villages in the construction of that.
Palace guards. Okay, that's value right there. Palace guards are insanely valuable because they immediately come with the HP upgrade on them as well. So a very quick armored frontline unit that is able to catch up even to crossbows, for example. And with all the bonus health, they are pretty formidable as a frontline.
Yeah, it does look like Palace Guards will definitely be very useful in this composition, especially because when you are up against China itself, I did see a nest of bees in the queue there, but Muhodo has decided against it. Now, my question is, what does he have in mind here? It does look like he has in mind, I need to push and I need to do damage. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here. Another set of Palace Guards. Crackety.
Oh, God, that...
Oh, no.
Did he replace the Kagura? That's pretty lucky, I want to say. And behind this Muhodo, he started trying to pro scout and immediately lost all of his scouts to a couple of Mangudai. And instead, we'll now see something, Whammon, that I like to call desperation.
And desperation will be swift. He is making rams, ladies and gentlemen, thinking that he will be able to punish buildings for their existence. But no. He's up against Imperial Age units, all coming for free. And next up, we get French Knights.
These are worse than No, these are better than French Knights. These are Rus Knights.
Oh, they are? No.
Yeah, they get the halberdier as well in.
No.
The Elite Knight.
Oh,
Not
no.
Royal Knight, Elite Knight, and Boyar's Fortitude as well.
Okay, so I would have been wrong either way, no matter way which I voted, guys. Unfortunately, but the Lancers, they do have their eyes set on the wood line. The problem is, there's a lot of Palace Guards in here.
It's so many.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, Muhodo, he cannot break through, even with the all-in in Castle Age. It's just not enough units here. Too much damage has been done to him. Too much delay has been caused by these Mangudai. And it's all compiling now to a situation where Muhodo is not able to punish the greedy Kagan Palace play here. Rams getting taken down immediately. And now Muhodo an H behind. Yeah, GG has to come in. No way out for Muhodo in this one. He's going to have to look at game number 3 to get a point on the scoreboard.
Honestly, this feels like something Numudan should be known for now. The man who does not go anywhere except for Imperial, but he has started to perfect it. Now, Numudan looking quite commanding here. I think we can take a little note from the book and say, okay, well, Mongols, they have a fun playstyle, but it snowballs way too quickly.
Oh,
Correct.
man. Yeah, at the end there, like Muhodo, he was trying to get a good army mass going, but I think it just compiled too much. All the Mangudai delay that has just happened in between, he wasn't able to do any damage beforehand there up against Numudan. And in the end, like once that Kagan Palace goes up, if you're not able to take it down, it's just so much army production that's coming in.
And just forcing your opponent to actually make units and delay themselves, put him in such a good spot. Now, this is something Numudan has been doing so well. But these archers, I mean, Muhodo probably looked at the situation. He's like, okay, I need to deal with this. Let's see what I can do. But when you get into a position like that, it feels so difficult to actually just find a proper answer to it. The horsemen here just getting picked off every single time because these guys can just outrun you for days.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Like, just never being able to catch up all the way. It's very, very difficult behind this as well. Yeah, this Kagan Palace just going up, and at a point in time when Numudan was ahead in economy as well, somewhat even military count, and just like having really good RNG there, double PGs, early knights, and honestly, like, what else could you be asking for in this type of situation? Mass knights from Muhodo, but already crossbows and hand cannoneers out there from Numudan as well. Just very, very tough one here for Numudan. Next up, though, we're getting Roos up against House of Lancaster. And yeah, that's going to be also an interesting one on Gorge. We're going to take a quick look at the brackets in between, though, because there are still multiple sets going on in parallel at the moment, as we do have 6 spots remaining for the players to qualify. Kiljardi up against Scatterbrain, currently leading 1-0 in their set. Numudan Muhodo, that's the one we're currently casting, 2-0 on the side for Numudan. And Core currently leading 2-1 up against Valdemar.
Now that I would say is theoretically an upset, because Voldemort is some... Okay.
I told you earlier.
Core is wild, don't get me wrong. But Voldemort has been so heavily practicing and now doing this full-time switch to Age of Empires as well. We're expecting to see Voldemort's name pop up quite a bit more too. Numudan, though, also showing a little bit more of himself in the top 16 every now and again. But we'll see what the rest look like. Can we look at the other side as well? Thank you. Demu and Sass. Sassy has an uphill battle against this one. Demu is definitely a favorite to take this, but Sassy does look a little bit aggressive here and there. But Lash, though.
Honestly, I'm surprised. Lash winning up against Myriad, that seems like more of an upset to me. Just looking at previous tournament performance, Myriad always just getting very, very good results in the last couple of tournaments. And yeah, I mean, Lash, by comparison, didn't quite achieve as many strong performances there. And already leading up against Balltune, that is surprising to me. And MSN also up 1-0 at the moment, up against Cat. Some very interesting sets going on at the moment. We will be looking into more sets after our current one, so we will definitely be keeping an eye out on those, as we still only have those last 6 spots to be giving away in order for players to qualify for the EGC Masters Summer Tournament.
Now, with these guys fighting for their life in this tournament, it does feel like the stakes are pretty high. Now, a lot of these names, they are fighting to keep staying in those top 16, but guys, Rus versus Lancaster. Now, Crackety, we've been seeing a lot of Lancasters go for barracks, and from there, things get a little wild, but against Rus, that doesn't feel like the standard opening here. Now, if you're Lancaster, on this map, there is something that we have seen a few times, and you know what it is. Fast Imperial?
Fast Imperial, that's definitely an option. But also, I think in general, on a map like Gorge, which is a little bit more open, especially in the mid-game when it comes to food. Well, not that food is really too hard to come by for Rus, since they just, high trade house, and it's a whole thing, Whammon. But this is going to be not just any Gorge. This is going to be EGC Gorge, our own little special version of Gorge, and it's a little bit more open. You think normal Gorge is open? This one is gorgier. It's even more open. It's very hard to defend your base, and when you're playing as the Rus there, you have the mobile advantage on your side. The Cav Archers, Boyer's Fortitude Cavalry overall just being very, very solid. High trade house, tons of resources, pro scouting. You're going to be set for the game. You're going to have to be a very, very good defensive player as House of Lancaster here if you want to avoid taking a lot of damage.
Well, we'll see if he's passive enough, but at the same time active enough. Because I feel like with Rus, if you do let them just run around and harass you, you're definitely gonna come out losing, because they also have more things than horse archers. For those of you who don't know, Rus actually has other units that used to be a lot more viable. Now, with Lancaster, they do have the manners, but the manners shoot little paper darts at these units. So something like a knight could easily slide into those DMs, or in this case, into those manners to shut them down. But guys, it's going to be time for the game. So I hope you are ready, and we'll see what these two boys pull out of the hat. Oh, it'll be destruction.
It is time. We're jumping into our game number 3 now. match point for Numudan up here on the roost. His opponent is going to be Muhodo in the color green, playing as the House of Lancaster here on EGC Gorge. And we do have... Oh, no. Wait, this doesn't make sense. Maybe. I'm going to go with maybe. You're not going to be able to accomplish anything on the side of the ruse, but you can accomplish something on your side, namely pushing in your own deer.
And that has been the go-to if they cannot find damage, right? We've still seen a lot of barracks openings to try and get the deer pushed, but this spear...
forward.
He has different plans, Crackety.
Turn on the blinker, Spearman.
Oh,
wrong way. There we go. See, this is not a BMW driver. He knew how to turn on the blinkers, and he is going to go for those deer.
And he does run right into them face first, does make them jump a little bit spooked by the man with the stick. And he will need to start pushing from all the way back here. But this means that Lancaster will have enough resources to do something crazy like a fast imp, Crackety. I know you're not you didn't look like much of a believer of the fast imp on this case, but my goodness, this could be so dirty. But it does deny a full deer pack from Numudan. So definitely a power move here.
You know what I do believe in, Whammon? It is fast imperial into siege crews for the House of Lancaster. That one is actually disgusting.
Okay.
Getting double Reboldican against a Cav Archer that has 4.5 tiles of range. They're getting bullied, Whammon. They're getting bullied. Sure, like ranged units in theory, the counter to Reboldican, right? Guess again, if you got just about the same range as a Reboldican, and that just like demolishes like multiple units at the same time and can easily be repaired on the field, it gets a little bit crazy. And that is actually one of the, I want to say, more famous Chinese one-trick strategies at the moment that we do see on ladder. There are so many of them. Chinese one-tricks all around with like a crazy strategies on the ladder every now and then. But yeah, the fast imperial, the 3-manner fast imperial into Wingard siege crew strategy, it is a legitimate threat and a menace to play against.
I can imagine someone like Muhodo actually whipping out something like that, because this sounds like a strategy that can shut down that heavy harassment. But I wanted to look at that spawn as well, because as you guys can see, there's a stone and there's a gold right next to one another. So this can look at Numudan. He's pushing that deer to his base as well. It's like, my pro scouts are not going to be working hard. So with this, he's going to be able to protect this with the Lancaster Castle pretty easily as well, and still have choices. Now, it being forward does pose a little bit of a risk to it being harassed, right? But at the same time, that's a pretty big boy to take down when you're a civilization like Rus that doesn't necessarily like to go for those feudal pushes. So we'll see if he actually goes for any manners. But yesterday, I actually saw a match. I think it was Corvinus who just skipped manners completely and went straight for the Imperial. And with the lack of villagers on stone... Oh, wait. There's a green dot. Never mind. There might be manners. I got too excited. I got way too excited, Crackety.
It just makes sense. Like, if you go for the Lancaster Castle, you might as well get some manners in. It's a sensible play here. But yeah, Muhodo, he's got a great amount of food inside his base. Not just the deer, but also the amount of sheep that he found overall. Looks like he found a decent amount of them here. Still has those 3 spearmen. I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of long-range luring in the second deer pack, honestly. Just because, like, taking 1 deer pack away from Rus, great. Even when you're not going pro scouts, even better. Getting 2 deer packs away from Rus, man, then you're cooking. But Numudan, he's reacting. Archer range already coming in feudal age for him, and...
Never mind.
Never mind.
It's like pro scouts? That actually sounds a little bit better, actually. Let me just get that. No,
I'll get the archers in later. It's fine.
He does push the deer close enough so he doesn't need to worry about the spearmen too much. And this is pretty good push. These scouts will be easily able to pick these up without taking too much damage against these spears. Now, the spears here, they are going to get in and be able to push a deer back 1 or 2. But the spearman pays the price, and another one might as well. These scouts are probably pretty happy with that pickup. Now, Muhodo does get his archery range, so Crackety, he does commit to it. This time. We'll see if he cancels it again.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a little bit of commitment now to that archery range for sure after it's been delayed for a little while. Yeah, but just priorities there. Getting Pro Scout in a little bit for earlier since that does have a rather long research time. So, oh no, the Mighty Infantry actually taking a chunk out of that Spearman. So one Spearman down. Actually, Muhodo only down to, like, he lost another Spearman as well somehow. So only one Spearman remaining. Might have lost that one too, the TC.
Yeah, the TC took him down pretty heavily, poor guy. He didn't know what hit him. But now, my question is, with the Demi-Lancers, so he's only going to get 3 manners, right? This is what we predict. I say this, but he's over-chopping on the stone a little bit. I'm feeling like this might be a 6 manner if he does not pull off right now. But if he... Oh my goodness, it is going to be a 6 manner. He realizes, hey, you're going for Pro Scouts. I get to be a little bit greedy myself. And with those extra manners, you do have extra arrows when it comes to dealing with those horse archers. So in a way, makes a lot of sense, especially when you want to have access to that wood line next to your Lancaster Castle as well.
Yeah. Enough archers now, able to deal with the last Spearman as well. So Pro Scouts is going to be fully realized now at this point. This is okay, so yeah, there we go. Next level on the manners is going to be coming in now, so it's going to be able to go all the way up to 6 as you mentioned there. Makes a little sense. I'm just wondering what the follow-up play here is. I hope that it's going to be a White Tower, just because White Tower, it just buys you so much safety inside of your base as the House of Lancaster. Because you're going to need at least a little bit of time for those manners to, like, continually pay off. A manor takes roughly 3 minutes to pay off for itself. Now, that's very quick. That is very quick. But that's just on a, like, default Civ basis. Like, that's when it starts, like, getting better for you. Meanwhile, Roost, they already have, like, great economy baseline, so it's not entirely, like, black and white in that situation. It doesn't mean, like, after 3 minutes you're gonna win. It means that after 3 minutes you're gonna start being better than a default civilization that doesn't have anything going for itself.
So basically, with those manners, they're going to be start ticking. He just needs to find a way to survive against those horse archers that might be coming his way. But we'll see if Numudan goes for any other production buildings. It could be a little bit of a switch up here, but I don't expect it. With already having an archery range out, you already have, you know, a pretty solid production building with units that can actually do some work. Because now that wood line, like you said, the map is a lot more open. So this means that that wood line is going to have a much easier time of getting harassed. But now 9 on the high trade house. We'll see if he does get a pretty solid chunk. Twitch chat, remember to make your predictions in chat so that we can permaban the person who gets it right. Now the final manner has been decided and planted down. So this is going to be Muhodo is going to be able to click up in the next minute or so.
Yeah, Master Noble's coming in behind all of this as well, so Numudan is going to have a couple of units out here now in order to harass a little bit. Might be able to clean up the archers here and just make sure that Numudan isn't going to have any army presence out immediately. Are we going to see any cav archers immediately? I think actually Numudan... There we go, first cav archer coming in, but I think Numudan's the kind of player to, as quickly as possible, get a monastery in now as well behind this. Just wants to start collecting the relics as quickly as possible. Can we take a look at the back of the base there? I think he placed the monastery. Yeah, there we go. Monastery is getting rushed up. 4 villagers on that. He is hungry for some relics now.
And getting those relics definitely puts him in a position where he can actually get ahead, even though Lancaster is so good at getting efficient resources quickly with those units being so cheap from the Wing Guard. Now, let's see what the age up is going to look like. Ooh, well, we do see the nobles are out. We just need to find out where they're going to strike. They're most likely just going to strike to stop those relics from being picked up. We do see that there are a lot of them on the side. All relics. Which is going to mean this is going to be a lot harder for Numudan to just get them for free. But now, horse archers, we've got 3 on the field, and let's see if they're going to be able to find some damage. It does look like Numudan is keeping them close to the base. So we'll see if he tries to move out. King's College being the choice of landmark, though. That, I feel like, is a little bit greedy in this matchup.
I'm honestly not sure. It depends on what Muhodo is going to go for afterwards. Because if this is like a play into mass Hobelas, I can understand it. Because Hobelas, if you get like the hill training in, they come out insanely fast from the stables, and on top of that, they do an absurd amount of damage with their charge, even up against the cav archers. Like, they pretty much one-shot them with the charge, so it's actually like an insanely strong potential counterplay here. It becomes an issue when there's also like other units involved, when there's like knights as a front line, just because the hobblers, they do a good charge. After that, if the unit's not ranged, they tickle. They're like mounted villagers.
Now, we do have a very pressing question right here, right now. We do see pro scouts, but how much gold do we have on that high trade house per minute? Oh my gosh.
It is gonna be 134. Anybody got 134?
No one's getting
Any takers? No takers. Nobody got it.
Wow. We can ban Love Bureau. You got 137. That's close enough,
He was
guys.
close. Kaker got 132. That's a perma.
Well, these horse archers, because they're pretty fast on their feet, you can see them tickling these very, very Castle Age demi-lancers just running for their lives. But the problem is now they can chase them down, they can do some damage, and like we said before, these things don't get remade, so losing them is actually quite expensive. Now, you do see some Yumis coming out of Muhodo, and that makes a lot of sense. You're in a position where you get free food, free wood, and your mass that you can get is pretty large from this. Now, it does look they're going to be charging in. Does not look like they will connect, because these guys are very fast on the feet, and we have 3 scouts on the other side. But on the side of Numudan, he's already taken 2 relics, 1 extra to the base, another one on the way to the base. So he's probably pretty happy.
Yeah, the relic split at the moment definitely looking like it's going to be in favor for Numudan. Looks like Muhodo is just about to be able to get his first relic in now. Starts picking that one up. Still don't see any hobblers at this point in time. Instead, it is, as you mentioned, the yeoman play here coming in from Muhodo. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of that. Like, honestly, like, if you go for King's College, I would rather have seen the commitment and seen some hobblers just being massed very quickly, just because that charge is actually the perfect counter. And Numudan behind this also massing up archers on top of the cav archers, so hobblers would have actually been a genius counterplay here, I feel like, from Muhodo.
Getting hobblers just means that he would not be able to do any damage to them, because those things, they take quite a few shots before they go down from ranged attacks. It is such a difficult unit to kill. But now, it looks like Numudan's composition will be paying off, because those knights in the mix as well makes this a lot harder for him to handle. Now, spearmen joining the mix, and we do see their upgrades coming into +1 ranged attack, also for the poor yeomen, who are not going to be as mobile, but they are definitely going to be peppering away at those little archers moving forward. The thing is, that number of knights feels a little bit scary to me, because Numudan, those knights are quite chunky, and he doesn't have any special upgrade yet to actually deal with them. Muhodo also having his own 3 knights does make this, you know, a little bit intimidating, but still not to the same extent. Numudan's army mass is looking scary.
Currently is 43 at the moment, 27. Muhodo is walking a little bit closer here. Do have a couple more yeomen now coming out here behind this. Still a very, very solid wood bank behind it all. Just not able to catch up in the food department or to be quite able to make enough units. We do see the first hobbler now in queue, but there's just so much wood in the bank. Oh, cancels it. Instead goes for the Call of Essos, and more knights behind it now.
Getting the knights in this situation is pretty standard, because we can see, oh, my opponent is going for a lot of armored units. I might need to do something about that. But the archer numbers are pretty decent, and they can even take down these armored units themselves. Having +2 ranged attack means that this is going to be a lot easier. Numudan now looking very commanding, and remember those little paper balls that they're shooting at these archers? They don't care, they're just running right into it. The knights absolutely getting demolished, Saint's Blessing coming in through as these guys are attacking, and it looks like this is a pretty big cleanup here.
Waterloo getting blocked immediately. Archer's just very quickly dealing with that one. And yeah, Muhodo, he's getting pushed off goal just as he was researching Color of Essos. So no, now he has no knights. And the warrior monk, he's just taking away the relic right out of Muhodo's base here. Absolute disrespect there. And yeah, Muhodo, his base, it is no longer safe. Numudan has shown just what he has, and it is a lot of knights. And currently Muhodo, just does not have any knights of his own, really, in order to deal with this. In theory, like, if he got a couple of knights in, if he was able to match the number, then with Call of Essos, he should be able to take some really, really good trades. That just was not the case. Honestly, I'm still looking back at this, and I just wonder what could have been if we had Hobelas in this one.
You're like, these Hobelas, they would have made it, but they would have made a difference. I completely agree. I think this is such a
situation, the one matchup, the one situation where Hobela is actually a viable unit. And Muhodo is just denying them their purpose, I feel like, at the moment. But yeah, now we see Rams coming in as well. Numudan, he's got a very large wood bank at the moment. He's going to spend that wood on 5 Rams. He wants to take down these manners, and he wants to take them down now.
And he's got the army to support this. Ladies and gentlemen, those are knights. They're going to be diving. And it just looks like with Rams, with big Rams comes big responsibility. But he already has the responsibility set up. And they are called knights and 44 archers, ladies and gentlemen. These yeomen, they do get a few cheap shots off, but they realize that there is a massive army right in front of their faces. 3 Rams are ready. And now those poor little yeomen are not going to be a match against those 3 Rams. The spearmen, though, they might stand a little bit of a better chance.
Numudan, 15 knights out, still more in queue. It is at this point in time, though, that the food is running out inside of his base, but looks like he doesn't need much more food now in order to close out this game, as the Rams are now making their way for Muhodo's base. All these manors, all the economy that Muhodo has is now in danger. And behind this, he's even getting the upgrade for 3 more manors, but he's about to lose the ones that he already has.
Yeah, that upgrade in this point just feels like an upgrade. He had the gold sword. He was like, hey, I might as well get this. But the problem is those archers are going to be going through everything. 45 archers now. The yeomen, they just don't have enough numbers. It looks like the knights are just going to go and collapse right on top of them. The spearmen are stuck behind the yeomen. They do make it through, but the problem is the archers are cleaning up everything.
Synchronized shot not quite in yet, and the military count from Muhodo, it's just getting lower and lower now. Now more knights in queue, but at this point there's just too many numbers here. 17 knights, and the spearmen are almost all gone from Muhodo. Numudan just doing a great job at picking these off with the archers, and yeah, GG has to get called. Numudan able to win the set 3-0 with a clean sweep here up against Muhodo.
This felt so commanding in the end. Numudan, the first game is a little bit passive, not too sure what he wants to do. And the rest of it, he's like, no, no, no. We are not going to have 50-minute games like I had in my previous sets. I am going to make sure we make this swift. Numudan giving himself some extra time to practice for next week when the first showing starts. But 5 relics, that must feel so good, Ezra's.
Ah, man, oh man. That is, honestly, a very, very tough one there for Muhodo in the end. Like, he got quite far into it, into the final of the qualifiers here. But Numudan, he just played this really, really solid. Every single one was very, very methodical here. Yeah, in the end, able to take it 3-0. So Numudan, he is going to qualify for the EGC Masters Summer Tournament. So congratulations there.